What's up, everybody? This is a JMXNation podcast. I'm your host, the straight edge one himself, Jay Smith. Tune in for my podcast next. What's up, everybody? I'm here with my guest. This week, it's the party starter, Jaden Newman.
Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Justin, what's up, man?
Nothing much. You ready to talk about all things wrestling and everything else?
I guess so. I mean, I'm here, so let's rock and roll, man.
Okay, how'd you at your age? You're pretty young. I mean, you're a few years younger than me. How'd you want to be a professional wrestler at your age?
Man, like, it's funny. Like, everyone's like, usually, oh, like I saw a certain match and all this. Really, like, what got me started on wrestling, like, was a video game, and it was Legends of Wrestling, and it was for the GameCube. That really got me into it. And then, like, I started watching, like, the shows. So, like, I was watching, like, early TNA, like, 2005 TNA, and just WWE and stuff like that. And that's really what got me into it, like, was that. And, like, yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say.
Yeah, well, a match for me that really got me back into it, and you probably heard it, was Edge versus John Cena by feud. But the match that I'd probably say my favorite all-time match would be John Cena versus Edge.
Ooh.
It's a TLC match at Unforgiven 2006.
Oh, yeah, in Edge's backyard over there in Canada, right?
Yeah, like every time I hear that promo or I watch that promo before that match, I get chills because I remember me being so hot for that feud.
Yeah. Man, it's weird. I actually I watched the DVD, like the whole "You Think You Know Me," the story of Edge, on the network the other day, and they were talking about that match, and he was, and like I was like, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really cool because, like, one, I like that match. Two, I also like Edge, so like it was really cool, and it's funny that you actually brought that up.
Yeah, it's I watched that too. It actually, I don't know. At the time, I did not like him. Well, he's a heel. I wasn't supposed to like him, but
Yeah.
I like John Cena. But now I kind of grew out of it. I started liking him. It's like with me, like my favorite superstar is John Cena, and people are gonna hate on that. I basically say, hey, you like who you like. I like who I like. It's basically like after they face Cena, basically, I think I start to like them because they're not facing him.
Yeah. Man, like, I like John Cena too. Like, I remember, like, in 2009, like, that rough 2008 to 2012, maybe 13, like, period of time, like, I didn't like John Cena. Like, I was like, this is stupid, this is boring, this is stale. He's done the same thing for, like, forever, it seemed like, like, I got tired of seeing the Boy Scout John Cena, and then I eventually turned into, like, one of those people where I was like, I want to see Thugonomics John Cena back, because everyone says that. Like, I mean, as much as we would like to, oh yeah, and I was like, turn John Cena heel, but like everyone else, but like,
which, let me point out that he is pretty much heel right now.
Oh,
by,
yeah.
by basically saying, hey, I'm not going to turn heel for you. That's basically making him heel because all the fans hate that he doesn't want to turn heel.
Yeah, it's like in the Bray Wyatt. It's like in the Bray Wyatt John Cena feud. Bray was the baby in that, man, and I'll tell you, I loved that feud, by the way. Like the whole WrestleMania 30 feud, like that was just fantastic. I thought promos and the build up was just amazing. The match was not bad in itself either, but like I've come to realize with John Cena that like the stuff he's doing now is pretty good, and like I've also realized he's evolved, like, with everything he's done gimmick-wise. Like, you know, from, like, the prototype to the Doctor of Thugonomics to you know, like, like the John Cena he is today.
I got another thing out. They say that all the matches they saw of him has been still because he only has 5 minutes to do them. Let me point this out. He's said on numerous interviews and numerous things on podcasts that when he's facing someone that he doesn't think gives him a reason to pull out something that is special, he won't do it. You know, with Edge, he did it. With recently Owens, he did it. With Seth, he did it. You know, it's because they're a good heel. He's a good face. You need a good heel to combat that. It's the good versus evil story. If he doesn't think he's getting that, he said that if I come out and they're chanting, half is chanting Cena sucks and half is half chanting Cena, you know, let's go Cena. What they're doing with you, they're not chanting anything for you, are they?
Yeah. And like, I mean, and I'll tell you, I like that John Cena's been working with like guys like Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and like all the guys that like kind of came up from the indies and NXT and such. Because like one, I feel like they give the product of WWE like so much more to offer, you know. And the fact that John's getting to work with these guys, what absolutely kills me is that like people will go on like on the internet and they're like, oh, who is it? For instance, like Kevin Owens. Oh, Kevin Owens is now going to be on the mid card. He's going to be jobbing and blah, 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 because he wrestled Cena. Like, and I'm just like, man, like,
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's because every time people face Cena, they seem to, you know, go down. Well, let me tell you something. Cena is a big main card guy.
Oh, yeah.
And when you face a main card guy like that and you lose the feud, which, you know, if he's a heel, he's going to lose the feud. The faces win him in the end, okay? They're going to do that. You know why? They're not going to stick them back into a main card feud. I'm sorry. They're going to go to a mid card feud.
Yeah.
Which is where I think Owens should be. It's not like he's going to skyrocket to the start because he beat John Cena.
Yeah.
Okay. I see him. He should maybe be in the mid card for at least a year before he goes to the main thing.
And I'll tell you, man, like I'm a huge like Kevin Owens fan. Like ever since like I got to see him at Camp Jordan over here in Chattanooga, you know, like where they had the Ring of Honor show. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but that was like, you know.
No, I wanted to go to that, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not a big Kevin Steen, which is what he used to go by, Kevin Owens fan. It's because I have people on my Facebook that loves to gloat about him so much, and it used to not get on my nerves. It just got on my nerves until they would say, "Oh, you should cheer for him instead of John Cena," and I'd be like, "I cheer for who I cheer for, and you cheer for who you cheer for." And it got to the point to where like they were basically sticking in my face. It was like, "Oh, Kevin Owens is better than John Cena," and I started just not liking him. I started being like, "Okay, I have this hatred towards him because you keep throwing him in my face."
Yeah. Well, like people also need to realize you're as good as the person you're in the ring with, you know? So like saying that like Kevin Owens is better than John Cena like is kind of ridiculous because, you know, they have to feed off of each other to have these amazing matches they were having. So like, you know, it's like I said, like you're no better than the person you're in the ring with, honestly. And I mean, like people don't understand that. Fans do not get that. And yeah, and
there's a point where I do want Cena to turn heel, which I would love that. I'd be very into it. I would stay with him on that, but it would have to be the right time. Right now, it's not the right time. I'll tell you when the right time is, and it will be when Cena wants to turn heel. It's going to be when McMahon wants him to turn heel.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I don't think that day will ever come, because like he's done so much for Make-A-Wish and such, you know. Like,
unless you know he gets he leaves WWE to go to TNA and start the new NWO, I'm not going to see that happening.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. It's very different than that. Just like with Kevin Owens, like I'm starting to like him now. I put on my Facebook, he's not fuming Cena. I haven't been getting crap for it. I'm starting to like him because he on the pre-show of I think it was SummerSlam. He came out and it was hilarious. He stole Byron's Mountain Dew, I think it was.
Oh yeah, that
And
was awesome.
he was like, "See you later, Renee." I like during the match he talks to Cole too. He's like, "Cole, watch this."
Oh yeah, he's so funny, man. Like he always cracks me up. Like you watched NXT. Like you're a huge NXT fan, right?
Oh, dude, I'm a huge man. I think
Yeah.
my favorite one down there that's moved up is probably the women, but it's Becky Lynch. I love her, man.
Yeah, but like one thing that cracked me up about like NXT, like talking about Kevin Owens, was like whenever he come out to the ring, like he got in the ring and like there was like this long, like maybe minute of like it just being silent and him yelling. So I was sitting there going, man, how many curse words is he yelling right now? Because this is pretty awesome. Like it cracked me up.
Yeah, and he did like quite a pipe bomb on them before NXT Brooklyn. It was very cool. I loved it. Like, but the thing is, he goes like, you say fuck Brooklyn because you're not going to see it fucking live when Brooklyn comes there, and then you shit on them having selling out the arena, which is 30,000 people, and you know it's they say it's bullshit. You know, I don't get why you're doing that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Which for NXT is like pretty big to say that your developmental system is basically selling out the same arena. Yeah, you sell out for SummerSlam, the second biggest pay-per-view of the year for you.
Yeah. Like, and I'll tell you, like, I thought the fact that NXT like sold out the Barclays Center was the coolest thing in the world, man. Because like, I think like that they'll end up. Well, they are their own brand, honestly, but like it won't just be developmental. Like it's gonna be up there with like, which in my mind it already is, but it's gonna be up there with like Raw and SmackDown and such.
I see them doing this in the future. Them making another developmental brand and not it being like, you know, to have NXT maybe move up to being actually on actual TV and not on the network. I see them having that be like a third brand, be their ECW. Like, that's the reason I say that is because they are making so much money off of that. You know they are.
Oh, yeah.
Triple H has made them so much money off of that. He is doing so well with them down there. And that's the biggest reason they say that. And internet fans say, oh, when Triple H takes over, it's going to be a good, you know, WWE, which I agree with them. I'm going to love when Triple H takes over because he's going to make it a lot better because you know that he's the one that is in charge of the Divas now on Raw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's which that right there in itself is I think the best thing in WWE right now is the Divas. Or the women I'm gonna call them. Coming from NXT where I will point something out, they did something that I do not agree with. They put Eve Marie in NXT, which she has not learned shit.
Man, I think everyone gives Eva Marie too much crap.
I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I think she did an okay match, but the pace could be a little bit faster. But I get it. I think she needs to show me a little bit more when next time I see her in a match. But I think what she did that the Kendrick or you know, whatever they called it something else. I think it was like sliced bread that she did in the corner. It was
Brian Kendrick's old finish.
Yeah, and she did okay, but it looked like she was like, you know, hesitant while she did it.
Yeah, well, like, you know, I mean, it's apparent Brian was the guy that was working with her.
Yeah.
Because WWE was like, hey, I got an idea. Let's send you up to Cali, and let's stay up there in Cali because that's where you're from, and we're gonna make you work with Brian Kendrick. You're gonna be up there for a couple. How long was he? Like months?
Months, yeah.
A couple months.
Which okay, on Total Divas, which I've watched Total Divas, I'm not gonna fucking say them out. They say, hey, they were like, hey, the Divas are like, we don't like this. She's taking the spot of somebody who should be on the roster and all this other shit. Which I agree with them. I mean, you know, she's had like 2 or 3 years to learn this shit, and now they're gonna finally make her learn it.
Yeah, that's one thing that like kind of strikes me whenever I was watching that episode, like. Because everyone kind of did have a point, but the fact that, like, say, you know, was talking, I guess, kind of down to Paige or whatever Eva was saying, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't remember what all she exactly said, but like that shocked me because I'm like, don't say nothing to Paige because I mean, like, Paige has done a lot, you know, like
She's already a veteran in this. She's done this for nearly 10 years already.
yeah, she was doing this at my age, man, and like, so like, I mean, like, don't talk down to somebody that's like been like, you know, in it more than you and is trying to tell you, hey, like, what makes you like want to learn wrestling now? I mean, that's just what I think.
Yeah, the thing is, and you know, Tough Enough. The finale was last night, and you probably haven't watched it, but
Yeah, how was that, by the way?
it was very good. The winners, I do agree with. I voted for him, but
Oh
what happened
God,
was
yeah.
they had them do a match on the actual program, a short match with like Cesaro for the guys, and then for the women, Alicia Fox,
Yeah.
and they went out there and they did a hell of a lot better than Eva Marie, which baffled me because they really, really, that's maybe it's because they were trained at the performance center. I don't know. Maybe that was it. They did to me. They did a lot better than what I saw Eva Marie do.
Yeah, like that's awesome to hear because one, I really liked Yeti or whatever. Like I didn't like ZZ, so I'm glad Yeti got it.
I liked him, but I thought that he's not for this.
No, God no.
Maybe he could be like kind of like a backstage guy. Like I
Not
see
even.
him being like maybe an interviewer.
I couldn't even see him doing that, man. Like and it's nothing to do with like body shape or nothing because like honestly, look at Kevin Owens. Like going back to referencing him, you know, like Kevin, like he doesn't like have the best build in the world, but he can go with the best of them, man. But like ZZ, like watching the first episode of Tough Enough and watching him like barely even be able to like complete the stuff. Like I was sitting there like, why? Like, and the fact that he made it past like to the finale and like not some of these other people shocked me. I was like, well, like that's
Yeah.
kind of not right.
Which was my favorite, Patrick, which I wanted to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think he was going to. The reason I thought is because he came in there and on a competition special I watched on the network, he said that he's trying to have a wrestling conversation in the performance center, and nobody wanted to have a wrestling conversation with him.
Yeah.
And I picked him and Josh right away because the two of them strike me as being the ones that I thought would probably one of them win it, and I was right. Josh won it.
Yeah.
But Patrick, he's gotten very popular from being on Tough Enough, voted off Tough Enough because a lot of the WWE Hall of Famers and legends were so into him. He went to lunch with Mick Foley. He's done a lot of things, and I think he's gonna wind up back there. That's why I think.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna end up calling him in for a tryout.
Oh man, Mick Foley. Speaking of that guy, man, he is the nicest man I've ever met. I swear, he is just so nice.
When did you meet him? Did you ever meet him?
Yeah, I met him in 2011. I met him first at the World of Wills in Chattanooga. Whenever they were still doing the wrestlers, which kind of kills me. They don't even bring in wrestlers no more. But like I met him there. I had him sign my my TNA program that I had from the previous year where I went to a TNA event. And then like he was just nice, you know, like we talked for a second. He signed my book and then like I went on my merry way. And then March, no, it was April. April I went to Johnson City to a TNA house show. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that was, but that was terrifying.
That's fine.
But like then I went to Johnson City, and I went up there, and Mick Foley was like the special guest ref or something for like the main event. And then afterwards, I went back to the hotel we were staying at, and like Mick Foley was there, and like he was just so nice. Man, I hung out with him in the computer like room area of the hotel, and like we stayed in there for hours just talking, you know. And like it was so cool, man. Like, you know, like this was of course like before like I was wrestling or even training, and I just told him, I was like, man, I want to be a wrestler and stuff. I just kept telling, like I kept talking to him about that. He's like, oh, you know, just like you know, just keep what was he said? It was something like along the lines of, if like you dream it, you can do it, or something like that. And like it's always stuck with me. So like it was really cool, like meeting him and like saying I had that experience.
Yeah, and from a guy who Mick Foley, probably a hardcore legend, he's basically went through hell, I would say, in wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm not a wrestler. I don't like pain, but I can't imagine how much pain he's went through.
Man, that man just like he's phenomenal, man. Like the stuff like he put his body through, like we're talking about, like to that match with who was it, Vader, where like his ear went off or something like that. His ear came off.
Yeah, yeah,
like and just that, and like the Hell in a Cell match him and Taker had. Like I'll tell you, that's probably one of my favorite matches, but it's the scariest thing probably in WWE history because of like Mick Foley could have died, man. But like, he kept coming back. He's like, he was all like Tommy Dreamer and ECW. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Just like kept coming back for it. So like, I mean,
yeah.
that's what really made me a big Mick Foley fan was that. But like, yeah, man, he's just put his body through so much.
Well, you speak of ECW, which I everybody calls NXT the ECW of today, which I think it is because
Yeah,
in the ECW they had their own style and brand to it, and they had their own chants, they had their own stuff. They did the crowd with their own entity in the actual program,
yeah,
which is what the NXT audience is. They chant stuff like Sasha's ratchet and no she's not, or fight Owens fight, or um they chant along to Becky's theme song. They do a lot of stuff there.
yeah. Honestly, man, like if I could say anything was like the new ECW, it would have to be Ring of Honor, man. Because like, who was it? I was with like Drew Game over at his house. It was before I was going up to Mount Airy, North Carolina for the Crazy Eight. That night before that, we were watching Barely Legal, the first ECW pay-per-view. And like it blew my mind, like seeing like how much of today's like Ring of Honor style and stuff like that was like back then, like this, like it was just nobody even thought about it. But like in ECW, they were doing it like streamers and like the crazy high spots and the flips and the kicks and like like all that stuff like was being done in ECW and nowhere else. So it was really cool, and that's why like I would call Ring of Honor basically ECW today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Ring of Honor fan, but I'm an old Ring of Honor fan.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not it's not that I don't like Ring of Honor now, it's just the fact that I watch so much wrestling as it is. I can't keep up with a lot of it. So
yeah,
I have to pick and choose. Like I want to watch Lucha Underground, but I've gotten so fucking behind on that, so I can't. Uh, but I've picked wrestling I'll watch. But I watched my favorite feuds in the old ROH was probably CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
ooh, yeah, that's a
That
good one.
and his feud against Raven, Punk's
Woo,
feud against Raven.
man, that's so early. That's early right there.
Yeah, he like and Brian Danielson, which is now Daniel Bryan. He was, I guess, to tell you, one of the biggest stars to come from Ring of Honor.
I don't know. I would think CM Punk would be, even though he's not there. Like CM Punk came up, like, and he did like Daniel Bryan. Like he really didn't have to like change his name much, but like they still made him change his name. CM Punk, he's still stuck with CM Punk, and that's one thing that I thought
Yeah,
was really cool.
which to him it credits to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman told him that you're not going to change his name, like, but that kind of goes to the credit to Paul because he said that they don't see anything in Punk, they don't see anything in him. I see something in him. I want him on the new ECW that will debut. I
Yeah,
want him so I can which
and
I love their version of ECW. Like it started getting crappy towards the end, but when it started out, it was very cool. I liked it.
yeah, like it was kind of like adding on to what they did in the past, and then I don't know what happened, I guess, with management or whatever with it. Because I know Paul Heyman was probably over it or maybe had something to do with it. But like, near the end, like say 2008, 2009, I think what was it, 2010 was like its last like.
Yeah, it's 2010 because that's when the first NXT TV show, I'd call it that, the one that is not around anymore, that really evolved into the NXT we had today, started.
That's
with
right. Yeah, that's right, because it was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, it took the place of ECW.
Yeah, sadly. And I mean, and no disrespect to that NXT show, because I'll tell you, I love that. Like, and especially afterwards with the whole Nexus angle. Like, I thought, that was cool.
Yeah, I love the Nexus, which is like a heel group. I always wanted to have a Nexus armband. That was one of my biggest things I wanted. Like I thought that was the coolest thing that they had, like an armband, like in on every arm. Like,
yeah, it was different, and I thought that was cool. And I actually have one of those armbands at the house.
Yeah, they. I like the fact that they had the N and everything. I like how they came out with different designs of the N.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that like got me, and I really did not like, is when they had CM Punk take up the Nexus.
What, dude? That was like I liked Wade Barrett being.
It was cool, but it's the fact that he basically just got out of being a leader of a group like a few months before that.
Yeah.
The Straight Edge Society, which was a very good group. I thought it could have went places. They had CM Punk, they had Luke Gallows, Joseph Mercury, and then Serena, which I don't see how she agreed to fucking cut off all her hair to do that.
But yeah, I like that. But like Punk, whenever he was like leading the Nexus, I thought was really cool angle. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
because suck it, Wade Barrett. But let's talk about the New Day.
Oh yeah, New Day rocks.
They really do, man. New Day's where it's at.
Yeah, and if you don't think so, you're booty apparently.
Yeah, you are booty.
Which every time they come out now, I just laugh my ass off because it's Kofi with that skip he does.
Yeah, the skip and the clap.
He skips down there, and I'm looking at him and like, really? I'm laughing my ass off. I can't keep my composure when they're walking down there, and Big E's dancing like crazy.
Funny thing, I found out the other day that the clap is a sexual disease, I think.
What the?
I just thought about that.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, it is. Hopefully you don't get it.
I hope I don't either.
Yeah, I hope you don't get it. Well, according to how Big E moves around, he obviously does not have the clap.
No, Big E does not have the clap.
Yeah, he look at
the crevices.
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird. And then Xavier is very cool.
Oh yeah, Xavier is fantastic, man. But yeah.
Who's in the background?
Who's in the background?
Yeah.
We got my buddy Bailey Blake here, the new TWE Pure Hybrid Champion. And then we got we got Hump Off the Stump, Chris Kronk. Controversial.
Oh, the most hated man in Georgia right now?
The most hated man in professional wrestling as a whole.
Oh man! I mean, if I was him, I would take. Is he taking that somewhere? I mean, they're giving him the name. He could just market that, be like the most hated man in indie wrestling, and come out and everything. I would market that so much.
I think that would actually be really awesome. I think he would use it, honestly. I think
it'd be really cool. He can get me to design the t-shirts for him.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask him or have him on here on your podcast one time and just ask him about it. I mean, because the most hated man in pro wrestling is really funny. Like, I like that.
Yeah, and everybody hates him now, so I don't get, but everybody else does. So
yeah,
that works for him.
Yeah.
But let's get on to New Day rocks. I think they do. But apparently to Team 3D or the Dudleys, they did not rock.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you something. The Dudleys, versus the New Day is going to be such a good angle if that's what's going to end up happening. I really do think that.
Yeah, and according to WWE, well, according to what I've read, that they signed full-time contracts to be back full-time. Team 3D did.
Yeah. Man, that's exciting. That's so exciting.
All we need is to have the Hardys come back from TNA and come to WWE.
Yeah. Oh, man. Whenever that happens, you're going to see me act like the biggest little girl ever because I love the Hardys.
Yeah, I met Matt Hardy. I remember I was Wrestle Jam 2. Oh my god, it was like I did not have much money, but I put my money together, and me and my friend Ryan were like, okay, you got enough money to pay for the autograph by him, the picture with him. I do too. Let's meet him and nobody else.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. I like the Hardys, man. I prefer Jeff over Matt though, but like
I think everybody does, and I did at one point. And let me tell you why I don't now. It's because I think Jeff's cool. I like him. I like his music. He does music now.
Oh yeah, Parox
but yeah, but it's the fact that with Jeff, I'll see that when he picks up momentum, he'll do something he regrets, and then it'll be taken away from him.
Sadly, that is true. Although this last time, like whenever they won the tag championships, you know, like he broke his leg. So at least drugs were not involved in that.
Yes, and I don't think drugs will be involved anymore.
Especially with the birth of his kid.
Yeah, Sting and Hulk Hogan especially said that when he had his daughter, it changed him.
That's usually how it does with most people, man. Like, you know, once you have that kid and you see him for the first time, like you change, you melt, you know.
Yeah, and seeing as Matt just had a son, so I don't think he's gonna go to his drug pathway either. So
nah,
I think WWE will be safe if they bring them back as a tag team.
We can hope.
Yeah, and then the other team that was in that, you know, Edge and Christian, they're both, I guess, retired now. You know, well, Edge is retired.
The weird thing with like I know Edge is retired, but Christian I'm not too sure about because like I've heard he is active, I've heard he's inactive. I really don't know what the deal is.
No, it's the fact that when he was last on WTV, he was with Edge, and they said, "Oh, they're both retired," but Christian came out and said, "Oh, I'm not retired," but it's also seen as maybe WWE wants him to be retired, and he doesn't want to be retired.
But yet, they're putting Big Show on their like television and stuff.
Which, oh my god, and it's the guy who turns face and heel every 2 months. It's like him and Mark Henry just takes places turning heel and face, and
yeah,
it's. With me, it's going to take a lot of interest to get me bought into Big Show and Mark Henry anymore. I mean, it's like they're jobbing out to, like, they're big as hell and they're jobbing out to people.
Yeah.
Okay. But so, how you feel about Finn Balor and Owens, that match they had?
Man, I liked the ladder match, honestly. I thought it was cool. Seeing Finn Balor in that bigger setting was pretty awesome. Like, because I love Finn Balor, man. Like, ever since he was, like, you know, Prince Devitt, Fergal Devitt in New Japan. I've always liked him. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was good. I like their Japan match a little bit better, but I like the ladder match just as much.
Man, that Japan match ruled.
Yeah, it did. And I was going to ask you on the podcast, I gave you a little bit of tutorial on how to cut things out in GIMP. Then on Facebook. Yeah, you work on that? Yeah.
I did actually. You know, for those listening, I like Photoshop and stuff too. I like to mess with designing. I've designed a lot of my previous stuff until my man here, Justin, you know, started helping me out. But yeah, I worked on it a little bit. I had a few problems, but I think I got like the little bugs fixed with it. So I'm doing pretty good with GIMP right now.
Yeah. It takes some time, but you know, I got very good at GIMP, and when I moved over to Photoshop, I was so blind to the stuff that I could do in Photoshop because I did not know. Like, it was like learning a new skill for me, and it was like trying to learn how to do all these things. And now I just know how to use Photoshop now, and I'm very into it. I'm learning new things every day. And like I've gotten to the point where I'm doing new styles and stuff, and I've made some stuff, and like I make posters now, which you said that earlier that you saw that Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin custom NXT Brooklyn poster I made.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah, I make a lot of things. I made Bacon Lynch poster. I made a Randy Orton poster. Like I went on like a good 1 week. I went on a good poster marathon of making posters.
Yeah, what was it that like Becky Lynch retweeted of yours? Was it a banner or a poster?
It was I made a wallpaper of hers. It was before NXT Unstoppable, and she retweeted it. And I'll tell you right now, I almost was like, oh my god, I can't believe this fucking happened.
Yeah, like, that's pretty cool, man. I would probably like mark out too.
It's because like I like her for her wrestling, but she's also pretty fucking hot to my estimation. If I ever met her, I'd be like, yes. Yeah, I would be damn.
Like drool dripping from my face right now thinking of Becky Lynch. Like, whew.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's one of those things like, Paige also, I would be.
Yeah, buddy! I love Paige, man.
Yeah, that team they had, PCB, is the only one, and I'll tell you right now, Charlotte does not fit in with that group.
That's what I was talking about the other day. I was like, all right, so you got Paige, you got Becky Lynch, kind of the same, kind of a little grungy, and then you got Charlotte, and like that really kind of cracks me up.
Ric Flair 2.0, which she looks like her dad. It's the fact that when you look at her, I'm sorry, I can't get, maybe if, I'm no offense to her, I'll put this out there. If you don't like it, I'll say it. But if you put a bag over her head, maybe that will be better of looking at her. Maybe that will actually get the good things. You take it off, it's Ric Flair. Maybe it's,
Let me tell you something, though. That girl has the most fantastic butt I've probably ever seen.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying.
Man, and you're talking that beside Paige, man. You seen Paige?
Okay, let's talk about Paige now. And why she has a better butt than Charlotte. But her wrestling ability is fantastic. Too.
Yeah, I like her wrestling, and, they're obviously pushing her to be the one that's going to challenge for the Diva style, which I have a big problem with. And I'll tell you right now, it's because I want more Becky Lynch.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes you don't get what you want.
That's the thing.
House. It is Paige's house.
Yeah. Freaking, yeah, that's but I see them PCB not being together. I see maybe they need to have a woman's tag titles or Divas tag titles. I see Becky and Paige making an actual tag team and being like, a tag team.
Yeah. But, like, I think the whole, like, the women's championship tag team gimmick would be really cool. Just because, like, one, I liked it whenever TNA did it with the Knockout Tag Team Championships. So, yeah.
Yeah, Shimmer Woman Athletes, if you've ever heard of them.
Oh, yeah.
They're all women's promotion, have tag team titles, like the World Championship they have there, and it's very cool. And it's very cool because Paige, Becky Lynch, Bayley, a few other ones, Emma, Natalia, Beth Phoenix, they've all wrestled in that promotion.
Yeah.
But Becky Lynch only wrestled 4 matches there, though.
Yeah. Either way, man, like, I like Shimmer. Shimmer's a pretty good promotion. I like them. What's the other? There's another all-women's promotion I like. Can't think of it. Shine, that's it. That's what I'm thinking of, yeah. I like Shine. Yeah. Shine's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They used to say that TNA had a better women's division than WWE, which they do, or they did. They don't now. I'm sorry. It's because back when they had the Aces and Eights era, when they had the Aces and Eights, during that era, they had some of the best women's matches I've ever seen during that era.
Oh yeah, with Gail Kim and like
Taryn Terrell was coming into it, and
yeah, dude, Taryn Terrell rules.
They had a ladder match, and like I'm like, man, this is the first time I've ever seen a women's ladder match.
Didn't they do that? Like, was it on Spike or did they do it for Bound for Glory? I don't remember.
I think it was one of them, but yeah, it was a very good match.
Yeah,
Taryn Trail very surprised me because I knew her as everybody knew her as Tiffany and
yeah, from
WWE, and they never let her wrestle at all. And then she comes to TNA and becomes like in the Divas division. I call her the Randy Orton of the Divas division or the women's division of TNA because she uses the cutter. Yeah, of that. But yeah, she's very cool, and she had that towel for a long time. Then now Brooke Tessmacher's got it back.
Oh man, I love Brooke Tessmacher. I think she's so good, and she's really pretty.
Yeah, she's got that. But what gets me about TNA is that they'll go on a good few months of having good wrestling, then they'll do something will screw up, and it will make them rebrand or something. Like, what really gets me is they rebranded their brand so many damn times in the last 5 years.
No kidding, they really have, man. And I'll tell you, I like TNA still. Like, people give TNA crap. They talk about how TNA should just shut down, but like, I like TNA. I think that they still have a pretty good product. And like, I think the whole Global Force Wrestling and TNA wrestling angle is really cool because like that's like, even though GFW has so much more of like the TNA's older guys, you know, like I still like the whole invasion angle because I mean, just think of it. I mean, you got PJ Black now as your TNA King of the Mountain champion, which is basically the old Legends championship, and then you have Trevor Lee and who is his tag partner? I'm trying to think. Andrew Lee and Trevor Everett, maybe? I don't remember. But like or Andrew Everett, whatever. But like I can't think of who his tag partner is. I think that's it. But they have the TNA tag titles. Like it's just really cool. Like I like where it's going in that way.
Yeah, PJ Black used to be Justin Gabriel and WWE, and they weren't doing crap with him, and he basically he quit, and I don't blame him. I mean, why the fuck wouldn't you quit when they're not doing anything with you?
Yeah, and like with him, man, like I think the last thing they did do with him was the bunny thing. And like I'll tell you, like whenever like you've done a lot, like I mean he never made it to that main event status that like I feel like he could have been that I feel like he could have done, or maybe he could have been like a good solid upper mid card, you know. But like they never pushed him like that. And like that's what kind of sucked.
Well, that's the show, guys. Jaden Newman, he started cutting out, technical difficulties. I just want to thank him for coming on the podcast. Hopefully, next time we do this, it won't mess up. But I hope you liked it. It was a very short podcast compared to the others, but hopefully we can get him back on. Well, I'm just like thank Jade for coming on, and I guess talk to y'all guys later until the next podcast.